So, hello and welcome. I'm with Rachael Delano, all the way from Canada, and they've
Mhm.
got snow.
Lots of
And
it.
she's going to tell us about her academic journey so far. She's on our very first cohort with the University of Essex. So, Rachel, tell us a little bit about your background.
Primarily, I've got a classical background. I studied my undergraduate university degree in Canada studying classical voice. Prior to that, I grew up in Ontario, Canada, and I was very lucky to have gone to a performing arts high school and junior high. And in those programs, I was studying multi-genre, multidisciplinary pedagogy and different genres, basically. So it wasn't just classical. But I decided to kind of pursue a more classical path when I came out of high school. And when I finished my degree, I decided I wanted to focus on contemporary pedagogy. And since then, I've done a bunch of certificates and courses and classes that have helped me as a singer and as a teacher. So now I do both professionally. I teach private one-on-one contemporary focus voice lessons at my home studio. And I also am a gigging and touring backup singer for a bunch of industry bands here. I mostly teach adults, and I would say like 60% of them are also industry performers in the city here. The other 40% are hobby singers or pre-pro students studying some sort of music or theater program. And that's kind of led me to here. I think through my own coaching, like I've been taking lessons for a while and wanting to develop my own contemporary pedagogy and my own contemporary skills, and transforming them from the classical setup. It's really taken me on this journey where I'm working with mostly professional contemporary commercial music singers, and I'm interested in learning. And what led me to the MA is learning how to best support them in their current state in their careers. So not, getting them to the professional level. It's they're already doing it, and how me as a teacher, how I can best support that
It's
journey.
really exciting that you're working at that high level. And so, how are you supporting them? Did you use your Mod 1 as part of that process, and how?
I would say that it's informed some of my like what I would like to continue researching. I think and just kind of affirming that, oh yeah, okay, a lot of my students are interested in this and they have helped support that learning journey for me. Of course, I'm not at the stage where I can ethically do anything with them, with what I'm learning, but definitely using them as a bit of like a source of encouragement, and that there is appetite for that kind of work is really helpful for me, because sometimes I feel a little bit like, oh, well, what do I know?
What did you look at in module one? Because just for context, you explored obviously quite a lot of theory, and then you translated that into practice. So where did you go theoretically?
I had a hard time choosing a topic, and I met with Claire, the module supervisor, and we talked a lot about, what my interests are and what I am doing professionally. Rather than picking one of the topics that was prescribed, we came up with a topic together. The title, I suppose, is, and maybe this isn't word for word, I could pull it up, but evaluate the importance of an awareness of the physiology of the vocal tract of a professional contemporary commercial music singer, and specifically issues they may face with shifting registers.
Wow. Okay. So essentially about registers, but from a CCM pop
Yes, so
music perspective.
CCM
Yeah.
and all about untrained professional singers. So people who are already doing the work, but they are quote unquote untrained. So a lot of the research I did was, what does untrained mean? Um, and honestly, like I'd say like 90% of my students would be, or my professional cohort of students would be untrained, because I found that training is 2 or 3 years of one-on-one coaching, which a lot of people, at least in this city, have not had. So yeah, my focus was on that, and I would love to look at vocal pathology as a whole, but I narrowed it to shifts between registers and issues that may arise between shifts. I did a bit of a deep dive on the difference between classical setup and CCM vocal tract setup, primarily because if someone is untrained, and I found through the research that if someone is untrained, they are more likely to adapt a classical setup because it's easier, because that's what they learn in school, like in elementary school. The vocal effort is less, is what I found, and sort of made the conclusion that they, a lot of these untrained singers might be experiencing more vocal pathology because they're tending to classical setup or classical vocal tract setup, and then trying to produce these CCM voice qualities, and then they are experiencing issues, which is what I've seen in my studio. And they've just done this big gig or they've been touring, and then they come to me and they're like, help. And I'm like, well, what do you know about your voice? And they're like, nothing. So it's just been a very interesting, I think, exploration on why that could be a thing. And obviously there's lots of systemic and access barriers to receiving training, and what training has looked like for a long time. So I think, yeah, I'm understanding what, like, I know why there's a gap, but then also learned that there might be things that they are doing with their voices that they don't even know that they're doing because of, yeah, I think the prevalence of Western classical music in general, even if they're not interested in it at all. Anyway,
That's really interesting, though, isn't
preliminary,
it?
but yeah, I found that really interesting.
That's really interesting. That's not something I was really aware of then, that there was that sort of, it's that dominant that I can see that now you say it, but that is very, very, very interesting. Have you got to that stage yet where it's fused into your practice or not? Or you more at the scope?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm not like able, and I'm not really at the place where I'm like trying new things with them, but it's influencing our conversation about it, and the way that I describe things or my vocabulary, I think, has changed a lot. Which, yeah, I didn't really know was going to happen, but I've had a few students say, "Oh, I can really tell you're doing your master's," which is funny. So yeah, I think the way that I've been able to communicate things has been influenced by the research I've done.
So in terms of the next module where you get to design a tool, and I know you're so early in your journey and you're not sure, but do you think you might carry this on? And if so, how?
I mean, I'd like to. Something that I came up against, and one of the largest barriers was like, there was not one academic paper that I could find that was specifically about what I wanted to research, which is untrained professional contemporary commercial music singers and vocal pathology. There's lots of papers about, professional classical musicians, lots of papers about professional contemporary commercial music musicians, but not with the specification of being untrained, having absolutely no prior coaching or vocal pathology, but that coming as a result of something else that, is not related to the subgroup of people that I want to study. So I would like to continue it. I have a bit of a barrier where there's like not a lot of research on the people that I would like to learn more about. But I think that that's okay. It just is maybe the harder path that I can draw some conclusions and, do research that is very related. But that's a bit where I'm stuck. I would really like to. And I know that, interestingly, there are a lot of in CCM music, like influencers and people who are online and selling these courses that they say like they'll turn you into a pop singer in however many days or whatever. And I'm interested in like learning a bit more about how those exist in the world and And do
Mm.
they work? What's the efficacy? Um, like, are they just these people who really love singing? Do they have a background in pedagogy at all? Um, so yeah, I'm interested in looking because there are like practical output tools that I think are doing what I would like to do, but I don't know how, research they are, or if they're evidence-based, or if they're just, I don't know. So I'd like to, yes, continue the work. I just have to, I think, narrow maybe what specifically I would like to address based on, like, I don't know if it would still be registered shifts and registers, but maybe it would be effective warm-up exercises while you're touring and you have 5 minutes, or I don't know.
There's so much that affects the touring singer, isn't there? Warm-ups, diet, late night eating,
Yeah,
pathology, reflux.
exactly. Yeah.
It's huge. You're absolutely a wealth there, haven't you, to choose from? So I guess it's going to be
Yes.
exciting and possibly challenging as well at the same time, narrowing it down. Well, thank you for joining us. I'm very excited to see what you do and catch up with you again when you're further on in your journey.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.